Welcome to our Middle East briefing show. Today, we're diving into some hot topics from around the globe. First, in U.S. politics, Senator Thune has made it clear the controversial Trump nominee for the whistleblower office isn't going anywhere, thanks to reports of racist and conspiratorial texts surfacing. Many GOP senators are hesitant, and the White House is staying silent, making his confirmation look unlikely. What a dramatic turn in U.S. politics. Next, over in Europe, the mood is all about readiness. European troops are on standby to deploy to Ukraine if a ceasefire is secured, with hopes pinned on upcoming peace talks between the US and Russia. Countries are lining up plans for a multinational force, and the UK is investing heavily, even giving soldiers new powers to shoot down threatening drones. The tension in Ukraine remains high, but the continent is prepared for action. And lastly, we're exploring the fascinating world of art and livestock. The big cow paintings have captured imagination since the 18th century, symbolizing colonial ties and rural life. Today, artists continue to reinterpret these iconic works, blending history and critique in a colorful, bovine-inspired art scene. It's a fun, quirky look into how livestock art is evolving and influencing culture. Please continue to watch for more detailed stories. CNN reports on Paul Ingrascia's nomination for the office of special counsel, which is effectively dead due to controversy surrounding racist texts and conspiracy theories he allegedly promoted. Senate Majority Leader John Thune and several Republican senators have expressed strong opposition, with some calling for the White House to withdraw the nomination. Ingrascia's past remarks, including claims of having a Nazi streak and making offensive statements about Martin Luther King Jr. Day, have sparked outrage, though his lawyer claims the messages are satirical or manipulated. The controversy highlights the political challenges in confirming nominees with problematic histories, especially when opposition from both parties could block the appointment. BBC details the geopolitical preparations for potential peace efforts in Ukraine, emphasizing the readiness of European troops to deploy if a ceasefire is brokered between the US and Russia. Defense Secretary John Healey explains that a coalition of 26 European nations has developed detailed plans to support Ukraine, including deploying forces to secure borders and aid in negotiations. The report also touches on the complex diplomatic landscape, with recent discussions between Trump and Putin raising concerns over America's influence and the possibility of Ukraine's territorial concessions. Healey warns of escalating Russian attacks and the risk of wider conflict, while European leaders stress that Ukraine must decide its own future amidst shifting US policies. Foreign policy offers a stark critique of Europe's diminished global standing, especially in the context of US President Donald Trump's interactions with European leaders. The article describes how European officials, including NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, have shown exaggerated deference to Trump, exemplified by calling him "daddy." It argues that this subservience reflects a broader loss of independence, with Trump's dismissive attitude and transactional diplomacy further undermining Europe's influence. The piece highlights recent events, such as Trump's controversial remarks during Middle East peace talks and his ambivalent stance on Ukraine, illustrating how Europe's strategic relevance is waning in a world increasingly shaped by American unilateralism and shifting alliances. The article concludes that Europe must adapt to this new reality, even as it struggles to assert its own priorities on the global stage. South China Morning Post recounts Cece Li's inspiring journey as a dedicated cyclist who has traveled the world, from Canada to Egypt, France, the UK, and across Asia, all by the age of 24. Her passion for cycling is palpable as she prepares for the upcoming national games at the Hong Kong Velodrome, emphasizing her love for her home turf and her relentless pursuit of excellence in her favorite event, the Omnium. Li reflects on her growth from a humble gold medalist in Shaanxi in 2021 to a more seasoned and professional athlete, aware of the stiff competition from mainland Chinese riders. Her rigorous training in Australia, especially in Perth, is a strategic move to optimize her performance, benefiting from the city's ideal climate, top-tier facilities, and the absence of jet lag. She finds solace in simple pleasures like exploring local eateries and watching movies during her downtime, all while focusing on her ultimate goal, excelling at the national games and beyond, with her eyes set on the 2026 UCI Track World Cup and the Shanghai World Championships. Her dedication is evident as she consciously skips other major events, choosing to concentrate fully on her preparations and her aspirations, driven by her love for cycling and her desire for success on the international stage. Australian Broadcasting Corporation delves into the quirky and charming world of big cow art, highlighting the enduring fascination with enormous livestock through history and culture. The article describes an 1887 oil painting at the Art Gallery of Ballarat titled Henry Stone and His Durham Ox, depicting a colossal red bull beside a wealthy Melbourne butcher, a piece that sparks amusement and curiosity. This genre of art traces its roots back to prehistoric times, with cave paintings of bulls in France, and gained prominence in the 18th and 19th centuries during a livestock breeding boom in England. The legendary Duramax, born in 1796 and weighing over 1,700 kilograms, comparable to an SUV, became a celebrated spectacle, with touring shows and widespread prints that captured the public's imagination. Flintoff's painting in Australia pays homage to this agricultural icon, linking colonial Victoria to its Old World roots and emphasizing the cultural significance of such colossal cattle. The painting's continued influence is evident in contemporary Australian art, where artists incorporate the iconic silhouette of Henry Stone's ox into modern works that critique colonialism, landscape, and the transformation of nature over centuries. The story of the big cow reveals how these massive beasts symbolize not just agricultural prowess but also cultural memory, artistic expression, and the colonial identity embedded in Australian history. BBC reports on the harrowing journey of Ahmad al-Rawashda, a Syrian refugee whose family has been torn apart by the ongoing civil war and dangerous migration routes. Ahmad fled Syria in 2014, escaping the violence that engulfed his homeland, only to see some of his children and grandchildren become victims of human traffickers while trying to reach Europe. Last year, his family in Omagh lost contact with their loved ones in Libya, prompting Ahmad to return to Syria accompanied by BBC journalists, seeking answers about the fate of his missing children and grandchildren. Amidst the remnants of a war-torn country where armed militias patrol streets and families grapple with grief over loved ones lost or missing, Ahmad's relentless search underscores the profound pain and uncertainty faced by countless Syrian families. The story highlights the perilous migrant journeys, the exploitation by traffickers, and the ongoing efforts of organizations like the Syrian Arab Red Crescent to trace the missing, while Ahmad's emotional quest symbolizes the universal human desire for closure and justice. South China Morning Post describes how the Hong Kong Jockey Club is harnessing cutting-edge artificial intelligence to uphold integrity in equestrian sports ahead of the 15th National Games. As the largest ever Hong Kong team prepares to compete in Shenzhen, the club's racing laboratory has been entrusted by the China Anti-Doping Agency to oversee drug testing for competing horses. This advanced AI system analyzes thousands of test results from blood and urine samples, each generating around 2,000 data points, to identify suspicious substances, including tranquilizers and performance-enhancing stimulants, that might otherwise go unnoticed. The use of AI aims to bolster the accuracy and reliability of drug detection, ensuring a fair competition without false positives, a feat the lab has achieved since its inception in 1970. With a history of testing samples from prestigious events like the Olympics and Asian Games, the laboratory's commitment to integrity exemplifies the innovative fusion of technology and sport, safeguarding the spirit of fair play in a high-stakes environment. The Independent reports on Maccabi Tel Aviv's decision to decline tickets for their fans at the upcoming Europa League match against Aston Villa, citing safety concerns. Following a risk assessment by West Midlands Police, the local safety advisory group chose to block away supporters from attending the November 6 game at Villa Park, provoking criticism from political figures including Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer. Maccabi Tel Aviv's official statement emphasized that their priority is the well-being of their fans, and after learning from past experiences, they decided to refuse any allocations of away tickets to prevent potential safety issues. The club expressed hope that circumstances might improve, allowing future matches to be played in a safer, more welcoming environment. This decision underscores the delicate balance between supporting sportsmanship and ensuring security, highlighting ongoing challenges in managing large-scale international sporting events amid concerns over fan safety. The Independent reports on Bob Vylan, a provocative punk duo whose frontman, Pascal Robinson Foster, unapologetically defends their controversial Glastonbury chant of "Death, Death to the IDF." In his interview on the Louis Theroux podcast, Vylan emphasizes that he would repeat the chant at Glastonbury tomorrow without regret, asserting that his activism is rooted in solidarity with Palestinians facing severe oppression and loss. Despite facing backlash, including Prime Minister Keir Starmer condemning the chant as appalling hate speech, Vylan remains steadfast, arguing that the real issue lies in addressing the conditions that enable such expressions, namely, the ongoing violence and apartheid in Palestine. He criticizes other artists, like Damon Albarn, for their dismissive reactions and highlights the disproportionate criticism they have received, suggesting that their outspoken stance on Palestine has made them targets of racial and political bias. Violent contends that their music and activism aim to shed light on critical issues, dismissing concerns about anti-Semitic incidents as secondary to the broader fight against systemic injustice. Meanwhile, The Independent also covers the UK government's response to the decision by Maccabi Tel Aviv to decline tickets for their upcoming Europa League match at Villa Park. The club's choice was driven by safety concerns following a risk assessment by West Midlands Police, who labelled the fixture as high risk due to past incidents of violence and hate crimes. Maccabi Tel Aviv expressed disappointment, emphasizing that their diverse, inclusive fan base and their efforts to combat racism are being overshadowed by false accusations and exploitation by extremist groups. The government and local officials condemned the decision to exclude away supporters, particularly criticizing the initial risk assessment, which appeared to be influenced by anti-Semitic stereotypes and fears. The debate underscores the tension between security measures and inclusivity, with politicians like Lisa Nandy arguing that the blanket ban unfairly targets Jewish fans and that such exclusions threaten the country's values of cohesion and diversity. The situation remains complex, with ongoing investigations into the role of fans in past disturbances and calls for a more nuanced approach to managing safety without marginalizing entire communities based on the actions of a few. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.